Hey guys, I'm Michael and this is Cheryl, and we are two musicians that have moved from the United States, Nashville, Tennessee, to Portugal, and we have ended up residing in Porto. Last year we did a couple videos about why we moved here and looking around for where we wanted to land. We wanted to do another video where we could tell you what's been going on.
Yeah, it's been like a year and a half or more, and we've had to move a few times to find the right place for us for now. And we've gone through the pandemic restrictions kind of tightening and then loosening up.
Yeah.
And we've kind of begun to watch the music culture wake up again and unfold. And so we're starting to see what it's really like here.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Are we still glad we moved to Portugal? What did we learn?
Stick around and find out. So our adventure began in Bonfim, which is a neighborhood in Porto. And Porto is the second largest city in Portugal on the northern end of the map. And Bonfim is this very artsy, cool little neighborhood in Porto.
Yeah, we looked around all over Portugal for a while. Before we came here, we watched a million YouTube videos because that was the only way we could learn about Portugal during the pandemic. And we kind of narrowed it down and thought Porto might be the place for us. And we thought Bonfim might be a great neighborhood for us. And so we went and we ended up loving it. So Bonfim is this really cool neighborhood it feels like it's its own little secluded place, but it's like 15-minute walk to the river, and it's just so it was such a great introduction for us when we came into town. But our little lease was only a couple months long, and we had to find another one, and at the same time we were looking for a place for our grand piano and a recording studio. So we ended up moving to another place in Bonfim, which also wasn't big enough, and thinking maybe we could get a space where we could, a separate space where we could put our studio.
Yeah.
So that was where we were for, how long were we there? Like almost a year or something, just trying to find a place where we could put our stuff. And we tried so many things. After a while, Michael saw this post on a Facebook group of somebody advertising their townhome in this neighborhood called Feita. This townhome is on this little side street. It's like a one-lane street. I think the street itself is one of the original streets of Porto. It's over 1,000 years old, and it's super quiet, and our street's really hard for cars to get on, so it ended up being the perfect spot. It's a 3-floor townhome with it's over 100 years old, so it's kind of like this big old thick stone walls and quiet.
So we got our piano in the house with us. The studio's upstairs on the next floor, and we were fortunate to have this place that we have now.
It ended up being just the right place for us.
So while we were looking for the place, I met a lot of musicians and went to a lot of studios and got to know the engineers and the owners of these studios, and for one, to see if there was a spot that I could put the piano or our studio, but also just to make those connections.
People were really friendly. I feel like everyone that we met at the studios and the musicians are really just welcoming, so that's also really cool.
So yeah, we traveled around a bit. We went down to Silver Coast and we looked around for maybe a home to buy. But every time we would come back across the Douro River, it just felt like home to us. This is where our heart was. This is where we wanted to be. And so this is where we stayed for now. And we decided that buying a place wasn't probably the best thing to do for us at that time. There was a lot of reasons for it.
So we just felt like for us, it would take more time than we wanted to invest, and we really wanted to just focus on our music.
Yeah,
and what we wanted
getting
to do.
set up and being able to travel and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Getting our music going and getting some recordings done and all that is our main focus
Yeah.
right now.
Already that was a lot to try to get that part going.
Yeah.
So
But it worked out, and here we are, and we love it here where we're at right now for the time being. The home that we got was furnished, so we had to move some things around to get the studio in and the piano in, but it worked out. So now we have a place, but I had to go back to the States, to Nashville, Tennessee, to get my stuff that's all in storage, our stuff. And so we had to hire a moving company to take all of our stuff, load it into a moving truck that I drove to New Jersey to the shipping container company that we used called Portugal Sales. And they were great, highly recommend.
And the rule for residency in Portugal is that if you arrive on a certain day, then you have 365 days from that day to get a free shipping, customs free shipping. You don't have to pay for customs, which is over 20%.
Yeah, so I got all of our stuff to the shipping company in April, and we had until July.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we're gonna make it. But then it got delayed a month.
Yeah.
And then when they finally sent it out, it kept getting delayed.
Yeah. It arrived in Rotterdam. That's the kind of the point where they switch ships, and it got delayed 3 times from Rotterdam. We kept getting notices that it had shipped, and then it hadn't shipped. And finally, when it arrived in Porto, it was on July 5th, the last day that we had.
And we were worried about what would happen.
And our company kept saying, "Don't worry about it," but yeah, we were really worried about the customs charge.
But that part worked out, so we didn't have to pay any extra fees or anything like that, so it worked out, and they were right, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so the communication on this side was a little harder than the Portugalia, Newark, New Jersey side, to say the least. They were supposed to have set up piano movers for us.
Yes, but my father was a piano mover, so.
Because you need a special professional mover to move a grand piano. And they wanted to move everything to our home all at the same time. So they told us a date that they had a piano mover set for, and it was like a week away, and they said, because of this, you have to pay dock fees of over €1,000. So that was not great for us.
So we jumped into action and tried to get the stuff ourselves, but we didn't know where the location was. So there was one guy at the company that we were talking to on this side, and there was one guy that spoke English, and he was never there. So it was really hard to make that connection on this end.
And if you tried to talk to somebody there and you called and they didn't speak English, sometimes they would just hang up on you.
Then they called us and said, we have your container at our warehouse, and it'll be here for the weekend, and it's going to cost you more money now that we have to keep it the weekend. And this was on a Friday. And I said, well, can't we just get the stuff now? And he goes, well, if you got the stuff, if you unloaded the container yourself before 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
And this was like 2 o'clock. Anyways, so I called some friends here that we're lucky to have, and said,
Angels.
Yeah, angels. So we freaked out and said, we need to get our stuff out of our container.
Yeah.
And they met us there, and we were able to empty the stuff, our stuff. They had a guy with a crane that was able to unload the piano, and we were able to leave the stuff at the warehouse. So the next day, Saturday, I rented a van and made 10 trips, filling up the van with musical gear and all of our studio equipment and as much stuff as I could get. And on the Monday, we were able to get some movers to come and get the bigger stuff and bring that to the house. So we were able to get it.
But the piano was still there.
Its
giant wooden crate.
Yes.
Yeah. So the guy at the shipping company said that our piano was supposed to arrive on Thursday. He gave us an appointment time and everything. But Thursday came and went, and there was no piano.
So I called, and finally got a hold of the guy that speaks English, because there was a time where he just wasn't taking my calls because he knew that they were having a hard time finding a piano mover. I got a hold of him and said, do you need me to help find a piano mover? And he said yes. So that's what we did. The next day we went to Labaret Pianos.
House of Pianos.
And we said, do you have a piano mover? He said, well, it's August.
Because by this time, it was weeks later. It had been, the piano had been there for weeks.
Yeah, and it was just about August. And in August, Portugal takes like a holiday.
Yeah, it's
so
like
a lot of companies will shut down for all of the month of August. So he said, well, it's going to be August. I don't think we can get anybody to do it until next month. He goes, let me make a call. He gets on the phone and says, can you do tomorrow morning? So we were like, yes. So the next day we get this gentleman, we gave all the information where the piano was, all that. Next day this gentleman shows up with his 2 sons, gets the piano in the house. He had to go up 3 steps on a ramp. It was just very professional. Just knew what they were doing. The old man knew what he was doing. He would tell the boys what to do. Yeah. And
we definitely recommend these guys.
Yeah, sure. It was great. So La Mare, I think is how you say it. I'm still trying to learn how to say words. But House of Pianos, great company. So now, at long last, we have our equipment, our gear, our piano, our studio equipment, able to set everything up. It's nice.
So now, a little over a year and a half later, we're finally up and rolling, and we're getting things going. You know, we're recording, we're writing, we're doing everything that's going along with it. We've got all our gear in place. And it takes a while to get all your stuff set up, and it takes a while to get all your stuff moved over. It takes a while to find a place that fits your specific needs if you have them. So we feel really good that we've passed those hurdles.
Most people that come don't have a grand piano that they're bringing, so it is a little easier. A lot of people get rid of everything. We got rid of most of our furniture. We didn't have any of that. We didn't bring any household items. We brought basically studio equipment and
But if you're coming and you only have like a bedroom studio or something, it'd be a lot easier.
So we've been researching venues and places to play. I've gone to some open mic jams. We've
been to a few of those.
Problem is they start at 11:30 to midnight and go until 4 in the morning. There's a lot of great musicians that just love to jam, and the jam sessions are different. And some are just we don't want to play any songs, just jam. Pick a couple chords and jam on it, which is fun. And then there's a couple others that are different. They play songs and have you come up and you do a couple songs, and then it's just different. But there's some great musicians here. And as far as the venues, there's venues here that not a whole lot have stages unless they're big, giant venues. And there's only a few of those, really?
Yeah. There's very few venues in Porto that have stages with lights and sound. I mean, very few that aren't gigantic, like arena or big concert venues.
Well, there's some big club places that have stages, but it's mostly, it has its style of music that it does, and it's. But anyways, it's for me, it's they have a lot of music that just happens in a room. They will set up in a corner of the room and just play it, which is fine too. But you would think Porto being a big city, there would be music venues. But what we found going up and down Portugal and meeting these different artists is that Portugal is not really a music mecca. No. It's not a place where a lot of original music happens. There are little spots. There's one little small town, Laria, which we mentioned in our last video, that has a lot of original music there, and there's a music label there that puts out this music. But as far as being a place where
original music is loved and there's like a scene, it's not really like that. So more covers, and there's a lot of American covers too.
For example, we spent a week in Ireland in West Cork, and it's a music place. And even though it's a small island, but there's a feeling of this is a music place. There's so many musicians there.
And there's a thing for creativity there and stuff.
And every little bar has a stage and lights, and they do music all the time. So it's just a different, it's.
But the way that we feel and how we felt before we even moved to Porto and to Portugal was that we never planned to like be in the scene in Portugal. We would love to play in Portugal, but all these places in Europe are a 2-hour flight away.
Yeah.
I mean, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, France, it's all 2 hours, 3 hours max. You can get to anywhere in Europe and play in those cities.
And a lot cheaper than going from the US to do a European tour.
So cheap, especially if you book the flights ahead of time. So it's just a place to live and to appreciate and enjoy your life, to have friendships and everything. Play a little bit and then go and have your adventure. And so that's what we're excited about.
Yep.
So now that we're settled, we're going to be bringing more videos your way as we uncover more about life here.
And if you have any questions about moving gear or technical questions about, over here,
Yeah, any kind of issues.
just ask in the comments and we'll be sure to try to get an answer for you somehow or another. If I don't know, I'll ask.
Yeah. So thanks for watching our video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to find out when we're posting another video again.
We hope that this has inspired you a little bit on your journey to keep going forward, chasing that dream, and living life to the fullest.